Hey yo,
Hey, how's it going, man?
how you doing, man?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Where are you?
Yeah, so first and foremost,
Yeah,
well, let me adjust this. I thought I was so like it totally changed when you,
yeah. It cuts the perspective changes when there's two people.
yeah, never have done this before. I've watched many of them, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you so much for joining. First and foremost, are you staying safe out there in California? I see like all these fires, like and smoke in the news, and are you able to stay safe out there and your friends and family and whatnot?
yeah. Where everyone's safe. Um, the air quality is really bad, but that's kind of the worst thing that most of the people I know are dealing with is just bad air.
Right.
But yeah, everyone's fine. I mean, it adds like a weird ominous like the sun is like red, and like
Yeah.
it's like literally the sky is full of smoke. Today was the first day I saw like actual sky, like blue sky, but it's been like literally like brown gray for like a while, which is a
Yeah.
weird. It's like after a while psychologically, like if you're looking at your phone too much and like you're seeing bad news and then like you go outside and it's like you literally smell the smoke. Like we smell the smoke in our apartment too. We actually just bought like a air purifier. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're okay. All that
Yeah.
to say, we're fine. I appreciate the concern, but we're good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like from the pictures I see, I mean, like it almost looks like post-apocalyptic type deal. I mean, the skies are like bright red, and like
Yeah,
it's just
this is
it's just
bizarre.
scary stuff in general. As if we haven't, as a country, like experienced enough bad things in 2020. Like that had to go and happen.
Yeah,
So, but I'm glad you're
yeah.
staying safe. So I guess we
Thanks,
can get
man.
started here. For those who don't know, my name is Zach. Zach Night Music on Instagram. Moderator of this page. Just made this page out of boredom. Quarantine. I'm at home. I was like, hey, I have all this like plus one like these videos and stuff, and see if other people have some too, and make a page out of it. And then here we are. But without further ado, I'll introduce the man who doesn't really even need an introduction here. Nate was the first member and the front man for the band Plus One from 1999 to 2004. And this time, their album The Promise achieved gold status and has sold nearly 800,000 copies, according to Nathan. He said that in the video back in May. So that means everybody that's watching this go out and buy like 5 copies so we can hit 1 million and make that platinum. Um, but yeah, Plus One went on to record 3 more albums, including their Christmas album, which we'll talk a little bit about later. From there, Nate went on to form the indie rock band Castledor with fellow Plus One member Gabe Combs, their wives Lisa Cole and Curry Combs, and 2 friends Joel and Brandon. 2010, Castledor came to an end, and Nate started Doom and Gloom with his wife Lisa. So many good songs of Doom and Gloom. I was just saying in the chat before you joined, like your years for Doom and Gloom were like my exact years of college, and like
Oh,
that just
whoa.
throws me into some good times, like just the college days, and that's just what I think about. So many good songs of Doom
Cool.
and Gloom. Busker's my favorite. Um,
Oh, whoa.
yeah,
Deep cut. I don't know.
yeah,
It's
for
not deep.
sure.
I mean, I guess, yeah, that's cool. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah. And then after Doom and Gloom dwindled down in 2015, Nate went solo and has since released 1 EP and 2 albums, one of which was released this year, titled Texas, displayed as TX. So it's pronounced Texas, right? Like I've heard both on the
Yeah.
podcast, like TX or Texas.
Yeah, if somebody, it's funny because I kind of hate when an artist does something where it's like confusing, like how do you pronounce it, or like,
Right,
like I want to make it simple for people, but I kind of am enjoying that people say TX and some people say Texas. To me, there's not a wrong way because
right,
I just like the visual of TX, but it stands for Texas. So if someone
right,
says Texas, that's right. If someone says TX, that's what's literally on the cover, so that works too.
right.
Yeah,
But yeah, either way, it was a fantastic album.
thanks, man.
And then when you released it, I didn't know who David Koresh was, and
Oh,
then I
whoa.
watched the Netflix thing. I was
Yeah.
like, super engulfed into that, and then I was like, "Holy crap, this makes so much more sense!" Like this song, I can't tell you how many times, like even throughout the years, listening to you, I've been, a fan of yours for 20 years, and I follow all your bands and projects. And there'll be times I'm like listening to like even like a Doom and Gloom song or like even a Castle Door song, and like I'll just be playing and it will just come up and shuffle on like my phone while I'm in the shower, and I'll like have like an epiphany, like I did not realize Nate was talking about this like all these
Whoa.
years later. But I kind of did that same thing with the David Koresh song. But yeah, it was a
Cool.
great album. Cool Crushing was my favorite on that album though, because it was like a Doom and Gloom reunion right there. Lisa came
Yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so just quick disclaimer for everybody in the chat. If the internet goes out or anything like that, or if Nate's internet or my internet crashes, we're just going to reboot it back up. So just go back to the page, and you can expect it to be up like another minute or so. Another disclaimer, I have never done this in my life. Last time I've done anything remotely close to this was like journalism in high school like 15 years ago. So be very
dude, it's cool. No, it's chill. It's totally chill. I just saw somebody's coming in from the Dominican Republic. That's cool. We got like, yeah, so like, you know, like we're getting some cool locations. We got New York in the house. This is fun.
Yeah, for sure. 77 people. Yeah, like I said, like around like 80 something people like RSVP'd. So but the fact that we're at that numbers, that's pretty cool. So but we'll jump right into it. So we're gonna start off with just an icebreaker, really short, really cheesy, but fun nonetheless, reminiscent. So I'm gonna ask you a series of questions from an interview you did in a past book, the +1 backstage exclusive. I've had this book for so long.
That's crazy, man.
You were asked a lot of like what your favorite, you know, such and suches were. I'm just gonna see how those things compare to your answers today. So for example, the first one is what's your favorite CD? Obviously, in the last 20 years, like 1 billion CDs came out. So if you'd like to relate it, if you'd like to maybe guess what your answer was then as opposed to what it might be now, you could do that or you could do both. But first off, what is your favorite CD? And I have your answer from 20 years ago. Let's see how they compare.
Yeah, I actually don't know what year did that this questionnaire come out? Well, like, what do you know when that?
I think it was 2001.
Yeah, I might have said something like, I don't know, Brian McKnight or Usher. So I don't know what I said. Maybe 112. Maybe I didn't say any of that. I don't know. But I was probably still on the R&B tip around that time. Maybe not though. I don't know. Let me see. But now, man, this is kind of, you know, I could talk about a million different artists that I love.
Right.
My mind goes to Rufus Wainwright when people ask me. There's this singer that I really love, and his first album I kind of discovered at a time when no one I knew of him. So it was like felt like my own like kind of, you know, personal secret. Like, you know, that's kind of like a fun way to discover artists where you're like, whoa, like he's not really popular, but like I'm really into it. I'm really connecting with it. So I would say Rufus Wainwright in general as an artist is one of my top, but I don't have a favorite CD. I mean, I like so much stuff. There's not really one thing that stands out.
Yeah, your answer 20 years ago was actually the new Boys to Men CD.
Oh yeah, see that? Yeah.
So yeah, which at the time was, I think there was like their self-titled name one. I think that was the CD where like they kind of broke off and got to kind of like you guys' Obvious CD where they got to, you know, write a lot of their own stuff and kind of do their own thing. It was the one that was like Nathan, Michael, Sean, and Wanye.
Yeah.
I think that was the one you might have been referring to. You didn't like name it, but I think that's what you're referring to.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't even, that's funny because I hardly even remember listening to that record that much. I definitely loved the Evolution record. I think it was the one before that, by Boyz II Men. But I mean, yeah, Boyz II Men all time like best singers ever. So
they're incredible.
I can stand by that. Yeah.
Yeah, the control over their voices is just unreal.
It is.
The next one was, what is your favorite TV show?
Oh, I'd have to go with Fargo right now. Have you watched Fargo at all?
I have not watched Fargo.
Fargo is so good.
Is it on Netflix or Hulu?
I think it's on Hulu now. Man, I don't remember what I think it's a FX show. I don't even have streaming TV, so I watch everything online as well.
Yeah.
I think it was Hulu. I think for a while it was on Amazon, but then you had to start paying for like individual episodes or like we found it somewhere, I think online, like for free, like a bootleg site. But I think it's on Hulu. And they're coming out with a new season in like a week, a new Fargo season. I'm pumped about that. So Fargo's an incredible show.
I haven't even heard of it, so I'll have to check that out for sure.
So good. It's based off of a movie, the movie Fargo. It's kind of like in the same world as the movie, which you should see the movie first if you haven't seen the movie. You don't have to understand the show, but
kind of helps.
Fargo, the movie, is also incredible. So
yeah,
the Coen brothers. Yeah. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, I'll definitely add that to my list. So your answer then was The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, we're right. Yeah. I would have. That sounds legit for that time.
Yeah, obviously
Definitely
one of the
spent a
best.
lot of time.
Did you
Yeah.
see that they're gonna like kind of reboot it? Somebody did like a
No.
almost like a drama series of it. It's like no jokes at all. It's like 100% serious,
Whoa.
and it's like a drama. And Will Smith loved the like fan made trailer of this dramatized Fresh Prince that they're actually he completely went with it and they're turning it into a real thing. It comes out I think next year. I don't know how
Whoa.
I feel about it yet. I'll have to see it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's always like really touchy, but I'm down. I'm down for it. Yeah.
The next one is what is your favorite place to shop?
Only thrift stores, pretty much exclusively thrift. I don't really shop. I'm not really interested in like most current like fashion. Are we talking about clothes? All right, is that what
Yeah,
we're?
clothes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not really. Yeah, I don't really have a favorite like modern place. I love going to thrift stores and I love finding like weird yard sales and estate sales. Almost all my clothes that I've worn over the last like however many years have been not new really.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that like as a proud. It's just what I like, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. Which
yeah.
kind of like completely differs from your answer now. Like, so your answer then was in New York at a place called H&M. Really cool stuff for really good prices. So I love
Okay.
how you approach that because clearly back then H&M wasn't a big thing. You go to any mall now, there's an
No,
H&M, but
it was only there was like one of them and it was in New York and it was like the only H&M in the whole US. So I was early to H&M and then
apparently
yeah, it got too big now. Gotta let it go.
that's like all you that H&M is mentioned so many times in this book. It's unreal. Like
Really?
you guys clearly
So
love
funny.
you guys self some H&M. So.
That's hilarious.
That's
I mean, it's not. I mean, for the youngsters out there, 20 years ago, H&M was like literally you guys wouldn't have known about it. You know, we were on an early tip of H&M.
yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's stupid, but it's. I mean, I think it was cool because basically there was something about it felt like New York fashion, which was basically always like ahead of the curve. Now it's different. I mean, internet people are exposed to so many different looks. Like you open Instagram, you could like follow different Instagrams based on like fashion and like there's all these different like niche like you know a sneaker world and like you know
Right.
you could follow all, there's so much. It's so deep. But back then the only way was like there were fashion magazines. I mean, the internet existed obviously, but there wasn't much there in order to you know in terms of like geeking out on fashion. There wasn't much going on in like the year 2000 2001. So H&M felt like European and like you know like
Definitely.
yeah, it was like a little bit ahead of its time, and then now that's like mainstream, you know, which
Oh yeah.
cool, whatever.
Everybody's wearing H&M now. It's in everybody's mall. So
Yeah, yeah.
the next one we won't do too many of these. The next one is where do you like to go when you want to be alone?
Oh, that's a weird one. I mean, now I just go for a walk. That's where I go to be alone. I mean, I guess it's kind of not so much alone because I'm still out in the public, but um, I just go on long walks with headphones. That's if I need like my own space. That's what I do.
Yeah. So your answer here was you like to go driving and sometimes end up at grocery
Ooh,
stores to look at magazines.
yeah, yeah,
Which I'm
yeah.
pretty
I
sure is
definitely.
stealing. Like no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
um,
I was that person. Just no, I'm not buying anything. I'm just looking. Yeah, no, but I definitely love driving, and I remember around that time in the plus one days, I would, if we had time off and I was home, I'd just get in my car and I would drive without any purpose or direction, and just to like listen to music or zone out. I just start driving.
so
You
that's
know, be
sometimes the best thing to do. I
yeah, yeah, yeah,
occasionally as well. And
yeah,
then I'll
cool.
do one more of these. What is, and I kind of screenshotted this and put this in a story not too long ago, but what is your favorite outfit that you own?
Hmm. Ah, I don't know if I have a favorite outfit. I've been like, here's the thing, in the time since plus one to now, like I got really into vintage clothes to the point where that became like my livelihood for a minute. Lisa and
Right.
we were selling clothes and we had an Etsy store. So my relationship to clothes isn't a permanent thing. Like I kind of enjoy the like revolving doors of clothes, you know? Like if I find a favorite jacket, if I wear it for a while, I get satisfaction and whatever expression out of that thing, and then eventually I turn it around and I'll sell it and it'll
Yeah.
go away, and then I'll find something new. So I don't really cherish stuff in that way. I kind of like to just let it go and come and go, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Your answer was sometimes I'll wear a dressy look, but I like wearing vintage T-shirts with fitted jeans, sometimes even cowboy shirts. So you're so true to yourself. I mean, this shows you're the exact same person 20 years ago. You haven't
Dang.
changed. That just described you like perfectly. And that was like your last album was Texas. I mean, cowboy shirts
That's
are
really
just
funny.
life.
That's really funny. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then the next one, I won't do too many of these. It's just one more quick icebreaker. It's
You said last one, bro.
well, that was the last one of that one, but this is a different one. So this one,
Okay.
this one, I'm going to talk out, not sing, but talk out a series of +1 songs from the three main, not excluding the Christmas album.
Oh yeah.
Promise Obvious and Exodus, and you'll have to finish the lyric and name the song. People in the chat, don't blurt out the answers. But the first one is, I'm afraid that you will leave as my secrets have been revealed.
And then I say what's after that?
Yes.
In my dreams, you'll always stay. Every breathing moment from now?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my verse. And who knows? I might not keep doing this well. I don't know.
Make it easy because make it
Yeah,
yours.
thank you.
Do that for all of them.
Yeah.
But the next one is So It Goes. Every life has some rain. Everyone's got to deal with the pain.
Oh my God. That doesn't even, it doesn't even ring a bell. Everyone's got to deal with the rain. Shoot, I don't know, man. I actually don't know this one. I'm stuck. You got me. What is that?
That one is, but I know how to make it okay. I'll tell you what I do when my back's up to the wall. You know.
Run to you. Yeah. Nice.
It's so different when there's a talked out because they sound nothing like the song.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Yeah.
To be able to, finish.
Totally.
It.
In fact, that's like how I remember. Like, if I can attaching the melody, I will remember words by if you hummed it, you recall the words better that way. You know what I mean? Like it's a weird. Yeah.
The next one would be, whenever I miss you so much, it's more than I can bear.
Yeah. Oh my God. I think that's Here in My Heart. Is it?
It is.
But I can't remember what. It's more than I can bear.
This is your line.
Yeah. I don't know it, man. I'm sorry. This might be a bad game. We might need to do it different.
This one is now I won't cry. I'll just close my eyes and know you'll be there.
Yeah. Nice.
All right.
Classic.
I'll into Obvious now. Here,
You funny.
I will be by your side when you want to break down and cry. I'll make you promises you can believe.
Dude, this is bad. I got nothing. Does anyone else know these?
Somebody in the chat, what song is that?
Yeah, like somebody needs to come through and like see if they can. We'll let them answer it. Everyone's like, it's so hard not to blurt out the answers. That's funny.
Okay.
Everyone's like, I'm nailing it.
What is it? I will be by your side when you want to break down and cry. I'll make you promises. There it is. Let me be the one.
Let me be the one. Yeah. Honestly, I know that like one of the. I mean, we could jump. I know that one. You mentioned that. Oh my God, Nathan Walters is in here. Can Nathan? I wish we could do 3. That would be fun. We could add Nathan in.
Is there a
Nathan's here? I don't think you can do that. Or I don't know if you can. Nathan, if you can do that, send us a request. Nathan would know if that's even possible. But if not, it's okay.
That'd be awesome.
I like him in the chats anyway. It's funny.
Yeah. He said under the influence. I don't know if he was.
He's wrong, dude. He's wrong. Yeah. He's wrong.
So I'll do one more of these, and we'll go into the main questions.
Yeah, this is a really bad game. This is a really bad game, and I'm letting everyone down. I'm sorry.
This one is from Exodus. Inside, you're ruining the mood. you're singing Solitude, forgetting all you knew.
So look into the mirror, swallow all your fear, believe it's really near. If you need
Yes.
love, yes, be loved. I got that one.
Which is
I
like the
guess I
anthem of the Exodus album. So
yeah, and that's one of the ones I had writing on, so that makes it easier for me to remember.
I'll give you a freebie there. So
Thanks, man.
We'll go into like the kind of the main questions now. Through other interviews and podcasts, a lot of the general +1 questions have been answered and asked. So I'd like to ask questions that maybe fans don't think about. When I made a lot of these, I was actually mowing the lawn, so it's like super weird. I was like stopping and like typing them in my phone, so some of them are like all over the place. But I'll just get into it in general. So for the first topic is the South Park Faith +1 episode. So for those who don't know, in 2003, South Park came out with an episode, the fall time 2003, the exact same time and era that +1 did, where one of the main characters, Cartman, wanted to get a platinum album, and he couldn't do that through a secular band, so he thought that doing it as a Christian band was a freebie, and he could do it easily that way. So he formed a Christian band where they just basically took love ballads and replaced "Baby" with "Jesus," and they named themselves Faith +1. So everyone knows that when or if you watch South Park, they don't care who you are. They're coming at you, your race, religion, lack thereof, your disability, your ability, your gender, whatever. So you really can't enjoy the show unless you kind of have some like sort of dark sense of humor behind you.
Yeah.
They came at those things that I just mentioned, like almost like in a general sense. Like I don't watch South Park, and they're not like, making fun of like Zach Knight. They're just like general things that I might do. But it seemed like it was kind of obvious that they were coming at +1 themselves. So I guess at the time, how did you hear about this episode? And how did you feel about it then, especially knowing like the Exodus era, especially, or from what I assume was a very proud moment in your careers. It was like the first project written 100% by you guys, and then you really have a popular TV show kind of taking a jab at your accomplishment, if you see it that way.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, part of it is I didn't follow the show at the time, so it was like enough off of my radar for me to like be like, oh, it's even a big deal. Like I don't really watch it, so I didn't really care in that way. But then I started getting like texts and stuff, and I remember Dan Brigham, our bass player, like around the Exodus time, like him like he was living with us, I think, when that came out, me and Gabe, and he knew it was big. Like the way that he reacted was like, I was like, oh, maybe this is like a bigger deal than what I thought. And I mean, to this day, it's like kind of a cool. I think I joked when I did like the like +1 20-year anniversary Instagram. I think I joked that like all press is good press, and I mean I kind of still see it that way. They didn't. It wasn't super personal. It felt really generalized to like Christian industry, and they really nailed some of it in some ways. Like it's funny, like the whole like replacing like the baby, and like when they kind of mix them too, which is funny on the show. But like they replaced the like, just sing Jesus instead of that. Literally happened with some of our songs in the beginning, like because we were taking songs from mainstream writers. So like Soul Tattoo, the original hook was, I'm so lucky girl that you are mine. And it's like, wait, I'm so lucky girl. And then someone was like, yeah, just put like, I'm so thankful, Lord, and like literally, wow. So they actually were on to something with that show. So yeah, but yeah, to me, it doesn't really bother me. I think it's pretty cool that we made a big enough impact that someone will want to reference it,
Yeah, I kind of thought that too. So obviously I don't really have I can't have as big of an opinion as actual members of the band, but like seeing it, I kind of agree with you. Like just in general, like any press is good press. But it was almost kind of like saw it as like, that must be like kind of an accomplishment for +1, like to show like kind of how big you really are. Like one of the biggest shows. I feel like that was like at the height of, that was their 7th season or something like that. So that was like one of the height of their show, and they went to go and talk about like +1 even in the way that they did, but like I mean, that kind of just shows like the magnitude of plus one in your accomplishments in a way.
Yeah, yeah,
Like that. So I thought, I
totally.
kind of thought that, but I was, just very curious as to like
I
kind of how
appreciate
you
that.
guys thought.
It's a good spin. No, that's a good
Yeah.
spin. Yeah, and we had the same. Yeah, I think had they like come out and been like addressed each individual and like made jokes about us personally, that would be different. But it was more general, so it was fine. It's all good.
Right. So the next question I have is about the Plus One Christmas album. So back in May, when everybody was feeling nostalgic, and posted about stuff, you went ahead and you did asked me a question on Instagram, and somebody asked something about the Christmas album, and you went on to say that not many, if not all of you, were not on board with doing that album. Like no one wanted to do it. And I'm going to only repeat this because you mentioned it publicly in that post. You also talked about how Plus One was like in the red and stuff like that. So for those, so if you want to just expand on that, like what were like some of the, other than some of the things I talked about, like why is it that you guys all did not want to make that album? Was it all for like the same reason? I guess you don't have to speak for other people, but what was, I guess, the main drive behind not making that album? Wanting to, rather.
Yeah, it's a little hard to like totally put myself in that time, but from what I remember, the way I remember feeling around that time was that with Obvious, it was like we were starting to take things, we were starting to really take ownership over this group. Like we started writing songs, and so that after Obvious, that was only getting more crazy. Like we were writing songs constantly. All we were doing was working on music and really trying to like envision what the future of the group could be. And the Christmas album idea was sort of projected onto us by the label, and so it felt like really out of left field for where our mindset was, and they're seeing something sort of like lazy, or maybe not lazy, but like opportunist, like, oh, let's just like throw this thing out there because people will buy Christmas records, and they sell every year. It doesn't matter if you're promoting them, type of thing. There's like a whole lot of like of a from like a financial side that people would feel the urge to even do such a thing. It wasn't like we were like, oh, we love Christmas music and we've been talking about these songs and how we could make them special, like it just was like an idea that was mess. And it was at a time when we were starting to like feel a little bit more like we could speak up and rebel against some of whatever was top down. So that's all it was, really. It was, I mean, I actually really do love Christmas music. And I didn't particularly feel like doing it at the time. That's really it. I feel like that's how kind of everyone was. And like we were just burnt out. Like we had really pushed on Obvious, and I think like the label was bummed for like how it performed in sales. Like we wasn't selling what people expected. It was still crazy, like it charted on Billboard and all that,
Right.
It was ridiculous. That. But like it was like a letdown, like Obvious was kind of a letdown. So it was like, oh, all right, well, what do we, and for us, we were just like writing our own music, and we wanted to like we basically wanted to do like Exodus. In my mind, that's what I think where I was at, So doing a Christmas record felt really like on another planet. But having said all that, like, man, I don't know. I don't not have like the fact that we did it, and like, I don't know, the vocals on that record are crazy. Like, there's some like everybody stepped up, and I feel like it's actually a really good. We had all been like road dogs or whatever, we've been just like constantly working on our like voices and whatever. So by that point, I felt like we were really nailing it, and we really went for it. So all that to say, like I said, I don't want to disparage that record too much because it's just the mood that we had about. We were a little reluctant to do it, but once we did it, it was like, man, we put everything we had into it, And some of those vocals are my favorite, and like we even had like a co-writing credit on This Is Christmas, which was like one of the singles, which Like I've still every now and again, like around Christmas time, I'll hear that like at Target or something, you know.
That's great.
So it's cool. I'm proud. I'm proud of it in that sense. So let's. Oh, somebody loves the NSYNC. I don't know the Justin Bieber Christmas record, but I definitely listened to the NSYNC Christmas record a bunch back in the day.
Yeah, my favorite two during Christmas are definitely Justin Bieber has a crazy Christmas album. I think it would be better if he like redid it, had like a more mature voice at the time or when he did it. But the plus one, like Silent Night, that vocal arrangement on Silent Night, kind of like you said in that post, like
Yeah.
like, ooh, go off, boys, like that was
yeah. Yeah. I think that was mainly I think that was mainly Gabe and Nathan and I doing a lot of those the stacked backgrounds. I mean, everybody sang on it, but I remember spending a lot of time. I think Bernie Herms, who's like Natalie Grant's husband, did a bunch of the like vocal arrangements. From what I can remember, if Nathan's in there, he can correct me. It's so funny. Someone just like commented on my to see me with AirPods. These aren't even mine. These are my wife. I've never worn AirPods in my life, but I heard that if we're doing this thing together, then like it helps with the sound. And like I'm not like an AirPods person. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Never owned a pair either.
The next question.
I saw an iPhone 7. Anyway, I have an iPhone 7, so I don't know.
I have an 8 because I don't want to get rid of my button. Like I don't like the iPhone's
yeah.
Buttons,
Same.
Your willingness to discuss plus one related topics seems to have increased as opposed to like times prior. Can you maybe like speak on like what maybe has changed where you're more open to talk about plus one now as opposed to even maybe 10 years ago? Or do you not even notice that was the case?
Yeah, well, I mean, I do notice. I notice it now because I'm doing it, but it wasn't intentional, and I never really like. I guess I didn't want it to ever come across as if I was using my past to get ahead. I wanted people's interest in me to be for like I'm contributing currently, not just off of like my past, you know? So I think like with Castle Door, when Gabe and I started that group, like we didn't have a bio that said Nate and Gabe from Plus One, you know what I mean? Like we weren't like trying to hide it, but we were never announcing it and putting it as like a thing, which we could have probably used it as like a way to advance the group in some ways. But it was also just nice to feel freedom and not be attached to your old self. It's kind of like, I mean, it's weird because it's such a brief lives, but it's so significant that if you imagine any other point like in your life, like Zach, like if you imagine like, oh, these like 4 to 5 years or whatever from like 2000 or whatever, you know, like to be defined always by this little block of time, it's like frustrating, you know, it's frustrating. And like, cause you're changing, you know, you're always kind of adapting and evolving. So anyway, I think I also had a lot of like the religious thing. I was on my own like journey or whatever, kind of trying to figure out what I really believed about the religious element. So that I was kind of wrestling with that privately without trying to make some big story around myself. I wanted to just be about music and output, and we put some of that into the music. But I think it's just time, you know, time goes by enough. It'd be like, I don't want anyone to think I'm like, that I feel any kind of animosity towards the other members of the band or towards even just the music, any of it. Like, I want it to be like this, like overwhelming, like gratitude and grateful. Cause that's how I feel now. Maybe I didn't always feel that way. I mean, I'm sure I didn't. I don't know exactly. I couldn't speak to like all those years in between, but now that's how I feel. I feel grateful, you know. So it's easier to talk about it because it's like it's exciting and it's fun and it's funny, and if someone's interested, then I'm down to talk, you know.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, you're able to reach that like just through just through growth, essentially. So now that you've
that's it.
grown, yeah.
That's it,
I
man.
want to pause real quick. There was, I don't even want to repeat it, there was an inappropriate comment in the comment section.
What?
And as far as I know, I think I did it. This is my first time doing it, but I banned that person from this live because, guys, just don't put stuff like that. Like, let's be respectful. That's not cool. So Nate did not have to. Yeah, I think when I blocked that person, it also took away all her
show up in the
chats, too.
feed.
So yeah, it was just So just kind of a disclaimer to like take a little quick break to say that, like, guys, come on, it's all love here. Don't say stuff like that. So
yeah.
But yeah,
I wish I would have seen it.
I'll send you a message of it.
I don't know. I like it's spicy stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, drama-free zone here. What was your favorite memory or memories of being +1? Like, are there any points after 2004? I guess this goes into it. And were there any points after 2004 that you might have just been on the couch, like, reminiscing, and you're like, man, I really miss being in the group? Or even in like 2005 or 2006, you like considered like, maybe I should call up Gabe and Nathan and some sort of reunion. Like, so yeah, I guess that's it. 2 questions. I could have been broken into 2 questions, but what was your favorite memory? And then have you ever just reminisced so hard you're like, I kind of wish there was a reunion early on?
Yeah, I mean, memories. It's kind of the same as like trying to pick a favorite CD or whatever, like we did in the beginning. It's really hard to pick a thing that stands out. Right. I mean, I remember like in the early stages, and it's something I mentioned on the After the Encore podcast, which people should listen to because I do the deep dive of +1 with Joe Shaw. It was really cool. But I think that meeting a lot of those people that I looked up to in the early days, like DC Talk, like at one point, we were sharing a bus with Michael Tate and like doing a tour with his band Tate, and I became close with him. Like, he invited me to a Coldplay concert. Like, he got tickets to a Coldplay concert in Nashville at the Ryman, which is like this beautiful venue, and like went to the show with him and like, go to his house for a super. To me, that was like I was doing it, man. Like, that's the dream, like you're hanging out with these people that meant so much to you. So I think in general, +1 was like every experience felt like you're just constantly checking boxes of like dream.
So you, like, as you said, did I freeze up? You froze up, but your voice is still like, yeah, I don't know if you're still there now. Wait, I think you're good. So now your voice is gone. So these might want to be one of the no, there's no words. I can read lips though. You said, can you hear me? Can you guys hear both of us? One of us? Can you guys, we might have to end this and start it again. All right. Can anyone hear us? Hello? No responses. Just me? Okay. All right, let's end this. Nate, can you hear anything? Thumbs up if you can. I don't think you can. Relaunch this. Okay. Let's end it and then start it again. So I'm going to end this. And then everybody, we're going to start it again immediately. So we're going to, if Nate can't hear me and you guys cannot hear Nate, I'm going to end this and then just go right back to the page. I'm going to start the live again. Or Nate we might not have to do that at all. So Nate is going to leave and then join again, apparently. I know, it's because we have like iPhone 1s. All right, there he is. There's another request. Let's see if this works. Go live with Nate.
Is it back?
Yeah, it's good now.
Ah, sorry.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. No problem there.
So I'll let people rejoin. I guess some people are still there, so we're good.
Yeah, so I didn't actually close out at all. So a lot of people
Okay.
left with you.
Yeah. It's all good.
But
yeah, I mean, I could finish off. I think we were talking about the most exciting times and memories of the band, and then I think you were asking me about reunion. Was there ever a time?
yeah, like
For
early on,
me,
like obviously not in like 2011,
yeah.
but like in 2004
No,
or
yeah.
5.
For me, like if I make a decision to end something or to like whatever depart personally,
Mm-hmm.
like I it's not even really tempting. I've already moved on in my brain, you know?
Right.
So there wasn't really anything tempting. However, I will say, I don't know if Nathan is still in this chat, but Nathan has this ability to like whenever we hang out, like since the group's been done, whenever Nathan and I hang out, we always have so much fun, and it's just like it immediately feels like old times kind of vibe, and
There
then
he is.
and new, yeah, there he is. So it's like it immediately feels like, oh yeah, we're right back there, but we're also like new, which is like, and so he's kind of convincing about like, what if we just like record one song or something, you know, like
Yeah.
like he'll throw out these things. So I mean, if anybody had the power to do Nathan, but also I don't want anyone to hold out hope for a reunion, because I personally I would rather just keep moving on and doing me on my own. And like
Definitely.
it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. There's really no reason. There's just really, for me, I don't see a reason for it. And it,
With
because
your
to me it's all
ideologies and
about
everything, you're in a
music.
different place now anyway.
Yeah,
So, you know,
it
it
just
doesn't
doesn't
make
make
sense
sense.
that way. Which is why, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I knew now that wouldn't make sense, but I just wonder, you know, if there's any time in 2005 you're like, wait, you know, I kind of wish I didn't do this. Let's just
No,
do it again or something like that. But
no.
yeah,
I mean,
so
of course, like those. Yeah, go on. Yeah, go on.
yeah,
You
yeah.
can go
I
ahead.
was always curious
That
in that, so
freeze
I thought
up.
I'd bring that up. I'll go on to ask the next question, which is, when is the last time that you've listened to a Plus One song from start to finish for the sake of enjoyment? And I'm not talking about, oh, I posted, you know, a song on the Plus One fan page or something like that, and you're like, so you just sat there and listened to it because of it. I'm talking like, you know, you're just like, you know what, I haven't heard this song in a while, and you just had AirPods in or something like that, and you just listened to it on your own without any other influence, just to like strictly reminisce.
Jeez, I mean, over the years, I feel like I've only really done that with the Exodus album. Like every like 5 years or so, I feel like there was a time when like that was one of the only like CDs in the car, because like I had a Exodus I don't know why I even had it in the car, but it was like in the back seat, in like the pocket behind the back seat. So like every now and again we'd be on a road trip, and like, all right, let's listen to, I don't know, and we would always really love it. Like always like, dang, like Exodus is pretty legit.
It is.
But like I can't really go there too much, just because, you know, like if you like look through like pictures of like an ex, like I don't know, or like ex-girlfriend or something, or like, you know, that kind of like bringing up an old feeling, it's not usually a good idea. Like eventually you kind
Right.
of like, I feel weird now, you know, like, and
That
so
makes sense.
I usually don't. But around the time of the 20-year anniversary, I listened to the Promise again, and it was like pretty weird and cool, like mostly cool. I was like, yeah, cool. And like someone asked me about what was my favorite, and I was thinking When Your Spirit Gets Too Weak, or When Your Spirit Gets Weak, I think is the official title. Um, and that song to me still like holds. Like I feel like, yeah, cool. Like that's a good
Yeah.
song. Everyone goes off, and it's weird. Like I remember listening to it again and hearing, like, I remember personally being proud of my own like vocal performance, because around that record too, one of the things about recording that record was when we would be in the studio, the producers would always make us sing it like 100 times. Like you could have a take of your life and be like, I nailed it, and they're like, let's do 10 more, you know, and you're just like, oh my god. So I can hear on When Your Spirit Gets Weak, like I can hear my voice being like tired, but like still trying like hard to like, you know, so it's got this like a little bit of a rasp, which is maybe like a good technique, maybe something I should like reconsider about
Yeah.
doing vocal takes. It's just like, just crush your voice till you barely got anything left. And then that's going to be the take, you know, like when you're really tired. And then also one thing I didn't remember, but like hearing it fresh, and then it kind of came back to me, was hearing Jeremy go off at the end. He has this crazy ad lib at the end of that song, where is what is it? I'll be there for you night and day. Yes, I will. It's like super gospel. It's like really gospel-y, and there's like a full-on gospel choir behind us. And it's like the money moment. I'm like, damn, like Jeremy like really sealed the deal on that song with his ad lib. So anyway, that was fun to hear.
So it's funny you mentioned that song. Like, I consider myself, you know, a big Plus One fan, obviously. I mean, I have a freaking fan page for you, but I honestly, until this year, have been referring to the song you just said, When Your Spirit Gets Too Weak. I was looking at the Promise album back in May, and I did not realize until 20 years later that in the title it's When Your Spirit Gets Weak, but in the song it's When Your Spirit Gets Too Weak. I was like, it's like the Mandela effect. I'm like, wait a minute, wait, what?
Yeah, so, I don't know. That's a strange. I don't know if I made that call. It's a weird one though. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, maybe just to shorten it a little bit. It was already a long title, but
yeah.
So let's see. I have my questions here. So what was it like working with? So you're 18 years old and you just get thrown into this. So it's not like you're playing bars or anything like that, and kind of doing like the whole thing like in the 70s, where people started in the garage and started in the bars, and then they're on like some stadium. You guys kind of just were thrown right into it. You're 18 years old. A lot of you guys are just teenagers, and you're working with producers like. Matthew Gerard, Peter Zizzo, and to name a few, these people worked with Nick Carter, Jonas Brothers, Kelly Clarkson. Peter Zizzo worked with Celine Dion, J.Lo, Avril Lavigne, and then most of all, like David Foster, who's worked with Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, and Beyonce. Like, does your 18-year-old mind like grasp who you're in a room with? Like, that's David Foster. He's a mega huge name in music. Like, were you able to grasp that? 20 years ago? Like, when did you finally realize, like, whoa, I was in a studio with David Foster?
Yeah, I mean, you do just because people are constantly telling you and reminding you, like, this is a big deal, like, so it's kind of like, if anything in your life, somebody giving you, like, this is a big deal, this is crazy, and like, I don't even know what you do with that information, like, and how you feel. I think at some point, I don't want to say it became normal, but yeah, so like when we were making that record, we started off, I mean, basically with David Foster, and we were like staying in the house, and everything about that whole experience was like just bonkers crazy, like in meeting all sorts of people. Yeah, so like we eventually, like, am I cutting out again? Can you hear me?
I can hear your lips and your voice are a tiny bit delayed, but everything's still pretty good.
Okay. So I remember like Rodney Jerkins was a big one. So like for David Foster, David Foster had produced like legacy art, like, Celine Dion and stuff, which I'm totally down. Like, yeah, Celine Dion's incredible. Yeah. But like, I think working with Rodney Jerkins, that to us was going to be like, oh my God, like he had just done like the Destiny's Child record. He produced so many like things that we were really listening to. So Rodney Jerkins was like, oh, here we go. This is crazy one, you know? And like Dark Child or whatever. So we go to the studio and he wasn't even there. And it was like, oh, this is weird. But there was this other guy who was like a vocal producer. So Rodney Jerkins had already set up the track for Soul Tattoo. Like he apparently he made that track, before we were there. So we showed up to do the vocals. And there's this guy named LaShawn Daniels. I didn't know who LaShawn Daniels was at the time. Now, if you look up his credits, he like co-wrote Say My Name by Destiny Child. He co-wrote The Boy Is Mine, Brandy and Monica. So like he had done like all these like mega like R&B hits that were like my favorite things growing up, and like so the list goes on. And he was feeding us like ad libs. Like he would like, you know, normally you're just like get on the mic, all right, you do a take it ad libs, but he'd be like, why don't you try this? And like he was like throwing out like weird like stuff that we wouldn't have done, you know. And then I didn't remember this, but Nathan texted me recently because unfortunately LaShawn Daniels, this guy, the writer and producer, he recently passed last year in a car accident, like tragic. Wow. It's crazy. He was like, you know, around our age or whatever. And there was a moment where like Nathan was like noticed a pair of sunglasses on the console, on the like the recording console, and he was like, whoa, these glasses are cool. And LaShawn Daniels was like, oh, those are Michael Jackson's, like he left them yesterday.
Wow.
He left them in the street. So it was like, oh my, like so he was just there, you know, the day before us. So like those little moments, those felt like pretty crazy, you know, especially like Nathan was.
He's
like,
a huge Michael Jackson fan, right?
Yeah, and it's like ultimate. It's the pinnacle, you know. So
yeah.
That's pretty fun. Yeah.
Did like Nathan? You take those home and like treasure those? You probably were tempted to.
You should have.
Yeah. I'm gonna skip the next one. I'm gonna go to this one. So I noticed, and some other Plus One fans might have noticed as well, that you, Gabe, and Nathan were all living together at the same time in Nashville. Nathan stole them, he said. And you seem to have all met your wives at the exact same time and got married months apart. Is that a coincidence? Like, how did you guys all meet?
Well, I don't know. I guess I can't really speak. Gabe and Corey met first out of all of us. It's funny that we did all find partners and lock them down at the same time. It's pretty funny. I like, look, it felt totally normal at the time. I think because the way our lives progressed and like, you know, right. It felt really like natural, and it was a really kind of spooky